Back in the day, growing vegetables was essential for every family. Supermarkets didn't exist, so people relied on their own gardens for food. Heirloom vegetables were grown for their flavor and durability rather than appearance. Today, many of those old varieties have faded from memory. Let's uncover 25 heirloom vegetables your grandparents grew that tell stories of a simpler, self-sufficient time. Brandywine tomato stands as a classic heirloom variety that has been loved by gardeners for over a century. This tomato stands out because of its large size and distinct rich flavor. Unlike the perfectly round tomatoes you see in stores today, Brandywine tomatoes have a more rustic look, often with uneven shapes and colors that range from deep red to pink. Back in the day, people didn't care about perfect appearances. They cared about taste. And the Brandywine delivers on flavor like no other. It's juicy, sweet, and rich, with that classic tomato taste that's perfect for sandwiches, sauces, or just eating fresh off the vine. Gardeners would carefully select the best fruits each year to save seeds, ensuring the continuation of this remarkable variety through generations. Crenshaw melon is an heirloom variety that impresses with its rich, sweet flavor and unique appearance. Its greenish-yellow rind is smooth with subtle netting, while the vibrant orange flesh inside is juicy and full of aromatic sweetness. This melon became a beloved staple in home gardens for its delicious taste and dependable harvest. Our grandparents enjoyed growing it for summer picnics and family gatherings, where its refreshing, honey-like flavor was a standout. The Crenshaw melon is a perfect example of how nature's creations can bring both nourishment and joy to the table. Families would often save the best melon seeds, drying them carefully on windowsills to plant the following spring. Scarlet runner beans were a favorite in many gardens, not just for their delicious pods, but also for their beautiful red flowers. These beans are a sight to behold when they climb up trellises or fences, creating a wall of green leaves and vibrant blooms. In the past, families often planted them near their homes to add both beauty and function to their gardens. The beans themselves are versatile, and they were a reliable source of food that could be enjoyed fresh or dried for later use. Grandparents would harvest the young pods for tender green beans, or let them mature and dry for hearty soups and stews. They also loved the fact that these plants attract bees and other beneficial insects to their gardens, helping to pollinate other crops. Children would often help with the harvest, learning valuable lessons about food production and sustainability. Golden Bantam corn is a variety that brings back memories of warm summer days and family dinners. This sweet corn was a staple in many home gardens because of its rich, creamy taste. Unlike the super sweet hybrid corn we see today, Golden Bantam has a more natural sweetness that's not overpowering. It was perfect for boiling fresh on the cob or preserving for the colder months. Back then, families didn't have the luxury of running to the store for fresh corn year-round. Instead, they worked hard to grow and preserve what they could. Golden Bantam corn was valued as a symbol of hard work and a lasting reminder of summer harvests that carried families through the long winter months. The sight of tall corn stalks swaying in the summer breeze was a promise of good meals to come. Rhubarb is one of those plants that instantly brings to mind homemade pies and jams. It's a perennial vegetable, which means it comes back year after year, making it a reliable crop for gardeners. Our grandparents often had a dedicated rhubarb patch in their gardens, and they would eagerly await the spring harvest to use it in their favorite recipes. The tartness of rhubarb pairs perfectly with sweet fruits like strawberries, creating a balance of flavors that's hard to beat. In the past, rhubarb wasn't just a tasty treat, it was a symbol of resourcefulness. Families would make the most of what they had, and rhubarb was a plant that kept on giving, season after season. Many family recipes featuring rhubarb have been passed down through generations, preserving not just the plant but the culinary traditions associated with it. Hubbard squash is a true garden giant, known for its thick skin and large size. This heirloom squash was a favorite among our grandparents because it could be stored for months without spoiling. In a time before refrigerators and freezers were common, having vegetables that could last through the winter was essential. The sweet, nutty flavor of Hubbard squash made it a versatile ingredient in many dishes, from soups to pies. Families would often grow several of these squash, knowing they would have a reliable source of food during the colder months. The sight of a big blue-green Hubbard squash sitting in a root cellar brings back memories of simpler times when people relied on their gardens to feed their families. The thick, hard shell that makes it difficult to cut open is precisely what allows it to store so well, often lasting until spring if kept in a cool, dry place. Red Russian kale is a hearty green that has been grown for generations. Unlike the tough, curly kale you often see today, Red Russian kale has tender, flat leaves with a slightly sweet flavor. Our grandparents loved growing this variety because it could withstand frost and continue to produce throughout the colder months. Kale wasn't just a trendy health food back then. It was a vital source of nutrition during the winter, when other vegetables were scarce. Families would harvest it fresh from the garden, even in the snow, and use it in soups, stews, or simply sautéed with garlic. It was a dependable crop that helped families stay healthy and nourished during the harshest of times. The beautiful purple stems and veins also added a touch of color to winter gardens when most other plants had long since withered. Cylindra beet is another heirloom variety that was popular among gardeners of the past. Unlike round beets, this one grows in a long cylindrical shape, which made it easier for our grandparents to slice and pickle. Pickled beets were a common item in pantries back then, providing a tangy, nutritious side dish that could be enjoyed all year long. Cylindra beets were favored because they produced uniform slices, making them perfect for canning. Growing these beets was a way for families to ensure they had a steady supply of preserved vegetables to get through the winter months. Their sweet, earthy flavor was a welcome addition to meals during times when fresh produce was scarce, bringing a taste of summer to the winter table. Dragon carrot is a striking heirloom variety with deep purple skin and a bright orange core. Unlike modern carrots bred for uniformity, this variety stands out for its unique color and intense flavor. Our grandparents loved growing dragon carrots because they were packed with nutrients and added a splash of color to meals. These carrots have a slightly spicy, earthy taste, making them perfect for roasting, soups, or eating fresh. They thrived in home gardens, reminding families that vegetables didn't need to be perfect to be delicious. Children were often fascinated by the contrast between the dark exterior and vibrant interior, making these carrots a favorite for young gardeners to harvest and enjoy straight from the ground after a quick rinse. Snowball cauliflower is an heirloom variety that has been grown since the late 1800s. Its name comes from the plant's pure white round heads, which resemble fluffy snowballs. Unlike modern hybrids, snowball cauliflower was valued for its tender texture and mild, nutty flavor. Our grandparents grew this vegetable for its versatility in the kitchen. It could be boiled, roasted, or pickled, making it a staple in many households. The fact that it could be stored through the winter made it even more valuable. Families would carefully time their plantings to ensure a good harvest before the first frost, then preserve their bounty to enjoy during the colder months when fresh vegetables were a luxury. Fish pepper is an heirloom with a fascinating history. Its leaves are beautifully variegated, and the peppers themselves change color as they ripen, from green to shades of orange and red. This variety dates back to the late 1800s, when it was widely grown by African-American gardeners, especially along the East Coast. Its name comes from its traditional use in seafood dishes, adding a bold, spicy flavor to meals. But it wasn't just about taste. This pepper also brought a splash of beauty to garden beds. Both ornamental and practical, the fish pepper was a staple in many home gardens, cherished for its ability to enhance both the plate and the landscape. Our grandparents appreciated its versatility and its unique look, often saving seeds to ensure it would be passed down through the generations. Mammoth melting snow pea was a staple in many old-time gardens. Its large, flat pods were known for their sweet, mild flavor and tender texture, making them a favorite in home-cooked meals. Unlike modern varieties that focus on high yield, this heirloom pea was prized for its taste and simplicity. Families would plant them on trellises to save space and make harvesting easier. Grandparents loved how these peas could be eaten whole, pod and all, with no need for shelling. They were among the first vegetables to be harvested in early spring, offering a fresh, crisp snack straight from the vine. Often added to stir-fries, soups, or salads, they brought a burst of freshness to meals when other vegetables were still weeks away from ripening. The delicate white flowers that preceded the pods were also a welcome sight after the long winter months. Perkins' Long Pod is a classic heirloom okra variety that has been grown for generations. Known for its long, slender green pods, this variety was a favorite among gardeners who valued both productivity and flavor. Unlike modern hybrid okras, Perkins' Long Pod produces consistently tender pods that are perfect for frying, adding to stews, or pickling. It thrives in hot climates, making it especially popular in the southern United States. For many grandparents, this okra wasn't just another vegetable. It was a staple that symbolized resilience and tradition passed down from one gardening generation to the next. Families would often gather on the porch in the evening to prepare the day's harvest, sharing stories and strengthening bonds while working together to preserve food for the future. Straight 8. Cucumber is a classic heirloom variety that was a staple in many gardens. Known for its perfectly straight, dark green fruits, it became popular for its ease of slicing and excellent flavor. This variety was a reliable producer, making it a favorite among home gardeners who needed a steady harvest. Back in the day, families would enjoy these cucumbers fresh in salads, pickled, or simply eaten with a bit of salt. Gardeners appreciated its robust growth and the fact that it thrived in a variety of conditions. The name Straight 8 comes from its tendency to grow to about 8 inches long while maintaining its straight shape, making it ideal for consistent slices for the table or for canning jars of pickles that would line pantry shelves. Red Wethersfield onion is a striking heirloom variety with deep red, almost purple skin. It was widely grown in the 1800s and became a popular onion for its storage capabilities. This variety has a rich, slightly sweet flavor that makes it a favorite for cooking, especially in soups and stews. Back in the day, families relied on onions like the Red Wethersfield to last through the winter months, providing a steady supply of seasoning for meals. Its vibrant color and robust flavor also make it a standout in fresh salads and salsas, adding both beauty and taste to any dish. Gardeners would carefully cure these onions after harvest, braiding the tops together to hang in cool, dry places where they would remain usable for months, a practical and decorative solution to food storage. Purple top white globe turnip has been a garden staple for generations. This heirloom variety features a purple top with a white bottom, creating a striking appearance in both the garden and on the plate. Our grandparents valued these turnips for their sweet, mild flavor when harvested young, and their ability to store well for winter use. The greens were also harvested and used in cooking, making this a dual-purpose crop that provided both nutritious roots and leafy greens. Families would often grow large patches of these turnips, harvesting some young for fresh eating and allowing others to grow larger for storage. Root cellars would be stocked with these hardy vegetables, providing essential nutrition through the winter when fresh produce was scarce. Jerusalem artichoke, also known as sunchoke, is a native North American tuber that was widely grown in traditional gardens. Despite its name, it's not related to globe artichokes, but is actually a species of sunflower with edible tubers. These knobby, brown-skinned tubers have a crisp texture and nutty, sweet flavor that can be eaten raw or cooked. Our grandparents appreciated Jerusalem artichokes for their reliability. Once planted, they would return year after year with minimal care. They also thrived in poor soil conditions where other vegetables might struggle. Families would harvest them throughout the fall and winter, digging them as needed for fresh eating. Their ability to store right in the ground through winter made them a valuable food source during lean times. Mortgage lifter tomato has a fascinating story behind its name. Developed by a radiator repairman named M.C. Biles, known as Radiator Charlie as in the 1930s, he sold seedlings of this variety for $1 each to pay off his mortgage. These massive tomatoes, sometimes weighing up to 2 pounds each, have a sweet, rich flavor with few seeds, making them perfect for slicing. Our grandparents loved growing mortgage lifters, not just for their taste, but also for their productivity and the story they represented, a tale of American ingenuity and self-sufficiency during hard times. Families would proudly serve these impressive tomatoes at the dinner table, often with just a sprinkle of salt to enhance their natural flavor. Black Beauty eggplant is a classic heirloom variety that produces glossy, deep purple fruits with tender flesh and few seeds. Unlike modern varieties bred for shipping, Black Beauty was grown for its delicate flavor and texture, perfect for classic dishes like eggplant parmesan. Our grandparents appreciated its productivity and the way it thrived in the summer heat when many other vegetables struggled. The plants themselves were often considered ornamental as well as practical, with their purple-tinged leaves and star-shaped lavender flowers that preceded the fruits. Families would carefully harvest these eggplants when they were still glossy, knowing that the best flavor came from younger fruits before the seeds had fully developed. Kentucky Wonder Pole bean has been a garden favorite since the 1850s, prized for its incredible productivity and excellent flavor. These beans grow on tall vines that can reach 6 to 8 feet, producing abundantly throughout the season. Our grandparents loved how a small patch of these beans could feed a family all summer, with plenty left over for canning or freezing. The long, tender pods have a distinctive flavor that many consider superior to modern varieties. Families would often build sturdy trellises or teepees for these beans, creating green towers in their gardens that provided both food and shade for more delicate crops planted nearby. Children were often assigned the task of checking the vines daily during peak season, as the beans could grow several inches overnight. Amish paste tomato was developed by the Amish communities for its thick, flavorful flesh that makes exceptional sauces and pastes. These tomatoes have few seeds and little juice, concentrating their rich flavor when cooked down. Our grandparents would grow rows of these tomatoes specifically for canning, knowing that a good harvest would provide the foundation for countless meals throughout the year. Canning days were often community events, with extended family gathering to process the harvest together, filling mason jars with rich tomato sauce that would line pantry shelves. The distinctive ox-heart shape of these tomatoes made them easy to identify in the garden, and their meaty texture made them a favorite for slicing onto sandwiches as well. Five-color silver beet, also known as rainbow Swiss chard, brings vibrant color to the garden with its stems in shades of red, pink, yellow, orange, and white. Beyond its ornamental value, this nutritious green was easy to grow and provided fresh eating from spring through fall. Our grandparents appreciated its versatility in the kitchen and its ability to withstand both heat and cold better than many other greens. Families would harvest the outer leaves as needed, allowing the plant to continue producing for months. The colorful stems were often cooked separately from the greens, adding bright accents to meals during times when fresh produce might otherwise be monotonous. Lazy housewife bean earned its unusual name because it was one of the first stringless varieties, saving considerable preparation time for the cook. Introduced in the 1810s, these beans were valued for their tender pods and the dry beans that could be stored for winter meals. Our grandparents appreciated their dual-purpose nature, providing fresh green beans during summer and hearty dried beans for winter soups and stews. The vines produce abundantly and climb readily, making efficient use of garden space. Families would often plant these beans alongside corn, allowing the bean vines to climb the corn stalks in a traditional companion planting method that benefited both crops. Moon and Stars watermelon is instantly recognizable by its dark green skin speckled with yellow dots of various sizes, resembling the night sky with a moon and stars. This variety was nearly lost to cultivation until it was rediscovered and reintroduced in the 1980s. The sweet, juicy red flesh made this a special summer treat at family gatherings. Our grandparents would tap the melons to check for ripeness, listening for the deep, hollow sound that indicated perfect sweetness. Watermelon cuttings were often a highlight of summer celebrations, with juice dripping down chins and seed-spitting contests bringing laughter to hot afternoon gatherings. Green zebra tomato, while a more recent heirloom developed in the 1980s by tomato breeder Tom Wagner, has quickly become a classic for its distinctive appearance and tangy flavor. The bright green fruits with yellow-gold stripes stand out in the garden and on the plate. Unlike many modern tomatoes bred for sweetness, green zebras offer a perfect balance of sweet and tangy that makes them excellent for fresh eating and preserving. Gardeners appreciate their productivity and disease resistance, while cooks value their unique color and flavor profile that adds interest to salads and salsas. The firm texture holds up well when sliced, making these tomatoes a favorite for sandwiches and caprese salads. Country Gentleman's sweet corn, sometimes called shoe peg corn, due to its irregular kernel arrangement, has been grown since the 1890s. Unlike modern corn varieties with straight rows of kernels, Country Gentleman has a zigzag pattern of small, deep kernels that are exceptionally sweet and tender. Our grandparents valued this variety for its excellent flavor and the way the irregular kernels seem to hold more sweetness than standard varieties. Families would plant several succession crops to extend the harvest season, eagerly awaiting the first ears and savoring the last of the season. Corn husking was often a social activity, with neighbors gathering to process large harvests together, sharing both the work and the bounty. These 25 heirloom vegetables aren't just plants, they're living history, connecting us to our grandparents' wisdom and self-sufficient way of life. Each seed carries centuries of careful selection for flavor and resilience rather than just appearance. Ready to experience these forgotten flavors yourself? Start your heirloom garden today and taste what real food should be. Subscribe now for more gardening wisdom and join the movement preserving these genetic treasures for future generations. Don't miss out. Comment below with your favorite heirloom vegetable and download our free seed starting guide. Let's bring these incredible varieties back to life one garden at a time.